Hi friends, Chad Putman here, and I'm coming to you still from San Juan, Puerto Rico. It is Friday afternoon, heading into the famous and well-enjoyed Labor Day weekend. I am here with you in all my glory because I wanted to present a video, one that allowed me to practice my vulnerability. A lot of the meditation work, the prayer and practice that I've been engaged in, centers around all of the messages and the conditioning that we experience in our culture, in our society, regardless of where you come from in the world. And that includes, images and issues around body image and etc. And so it's always been something that I've struggled with, but it's kind of a two-part video today. And the other part is that I wanted to make prominent my tattoo that's here, that symbolizes crisis equals opportunity, at least to me. And when I got it, I thought that that's what it meant, and it certainly still does to me. But it's an artistic expression of crisis equals opportunities in the Japanese language. And so that had come to me early on when I was first introduced to recovery at a drug and alcohol treatment facility in Binghamton, New York. And I went into one of my classes one day, and up on the wall was these symbols, and it said crisis equals opportunity. And the symbol kind of reminds me of this kind of like the crisis of being on the edge of a cliff, like danger. And then underneath, kind of the serpent or snake that, could potentially harm you, or you could be harmed in this particular position. And yet the reverse side of that crisis was this opportunity that then presented itself. And for me, that rang bells when I was in early recovery, because the idea of being a person struggling with addiction, being identified as an alcoholic, identifying as somebody who struggles with alcoholism and drug addiction and sex addiction, I've shared in my previous videos. It was hard to imagine that those facets of who I was were actually an opportunity that could help director and foster a more richer life for me, if that makes sense. So fast forward to just the other day, I've been getting fed a lot of really cool videos and things like that on YouTube, and I came across this film called Finding Joe, and as they were going through it, this came up again, this crisis equals opportunity. And I think about, all the times that it's rang true, in the years since I've entered recovery. When I think about, the crisis of COVID and what that meant for so many people, and the lost lives that it took. But at the same time, when I was working in the drug and alcohol field at the time, it literally opened up the gates and made treatment and life-saving medications more accessible. And so we had this crisis, health crisis occurring, which then created an opportunity to better serve and meet the needs of individuals who were struggling. And that was amazing. And then fast forward, to my own life. And so having a crisis at the age of, 47, some could call it a midlife crisis. But taking from my exposure to this concept of crisis equals opportunity, I call it my midlife opportunity. And although I would have never predicted that in all the years of my recovery, and celebrating my 25 years in recovery, that I would then have a reoccurrence and get involved in not only struggling with my sex addiction, but using illicit substances that I never used before, that were profoundly dangerous and lethal, and caused me to be extremely unhealthy, and led me to the cliff, right? To have to make some very difficult decisions in my life. And so that crisis created an opportunity for me to reevaluate where I stood and where did I want to go from here. And so fast forward, here it was again, my midlife opportunity to take advantage of, this moment in time to reassess my life and to make different choices, and choices that were true and authentic to my being and my purpose, and to move forward with love and support from others. And so I wanted to share that bit with you, and also just, be present and vulnerable in this state. And it's really been an opportunity for me lately to be reflective of how much conditioning we experience, whether it's from going through school or the pressure to have a family or get a college education or get a house or have a fancy car or to go on the best vacations, just all of these messages and things that we hear all the time. To go shopping, to walk in a giant store and all of these things on the shelf that could be yours. And what that means for us as human beings and how we acquire debt and acquire all of this stuff. I joke with my husband sometimes that, when we moved into our house in Schenectady, we had a little tiny U-Haul truck, and as we've thought about, if we were to sell it, like to empty out that house, it's it wouldn't be a little U-Haul truck, but it's also an opportunity to think about what's important. And so along those lines, part of what I've been picking up from my meditations and the journaling that I've been doing is that I can be more minimal, that I can be less focused on ownership and owning things, and that with that comes a great deal more freedom for me to choose how I want to spend my days. I just came to the conclusion of the end of August, and so I've spent the entire month of June and July and August, so 92 days in San Juan, Puerto Rico, which at one point was kind of the pinnacle of what I was intending to do, but soon after getting here realized that I didn't want to go anywhere, and that finding an apartment where I can remain for another 9 months was something that I sought, and so I acquired it, and here I am, and I'm continuing to engage with my co-working space and offering some groups. I have upped the number of self-help meetings that I'm attending. I find it really beneficial, and the folks that I am meeting are incredible. And so it's been really important to me to stay grounded in that way, and to celebrate, the fact that, I'm going to pick up a 90-day chip tonight because I haven't used any of those illicit substances that I had used prior to coming down to Puerto Rico, and I'm very proud of that. I still, quite honestly, I'm struggling with my sex addiction. I think it's kind of like eating. For any of you out there who struggle with any kind of eating disorder, I feel that a healthy sex life is a good thing, and just like eating is a good thing, but it's hard to engage it in moderation, and that when we do engage in it, that we're doing it in a healthy way that doesn't harm us but serves us. And so that's kind of my struggle, in which is different than drugs and alcohol, because I can literally put a stamp on it and claim abstinence and say, no, I'm not going to use those substances anymore. And one day at a time, right? But when it comes to working through my sex addiction, it's layered and complicated, and I have to have a lot of patience with myself. So, here we are. Happy September 1st. I hope that folks had an incredible summer. And, we just had a super blue moon. And I had shared a post on social media about the opportunity that I had to go and practice a yoga session and a meditation session with 500 plus people at the Old Fort in Old San Juan on the Atlantic Ocean coast overlooking the harbor. And it was really incredible. And I could have never imagined, when I was thinking about coming to Puerto Rico, that I would have opportunities like that. So as I, prepare to engage in this next, quarter of my time here in Puerto Rico, I'm working on being very intentional about being still, being quiet, being open to doing something different. I think sometimes I'm such a creature of habit, and I get so driven to go do stuff that I think is right, that I just, not doing anything over these last couple weeks has been really informative and experiential for me. And that I was just existing. I was just being present, and I wasn't out doing stuff. And that can be very difficult, because I think in our society, again, we're very much conditioned to go, 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 right? I mean, it's down here, they take Sunday a little more seriously. They tend to slow down a little bit more. But I have an opportunity to do that each and every day, I think, as each of us do. And it's easy to get wrapped up in all of these other things that are around us. But I have been given a really profound opportunity to seize an opportunity, right? After having experienced a personal crisis, to reevaluate things and make different choices and engage in the world differently, so that I can find peace inside, and that I can connect with others. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to share this update with you, and I hope nobody found this offensive, but my hope is that you can see past the visual, I guess, right? And see the context that, the opportunity today is to be able to see each other more honestly, more truly, without those masks that we put on, without the facade, to be able to have more honest and frank conversations, to be vulnerable, and know that the conversations and the critics in our own head are oftentimes louder than anybody outside of us. And that by facing our fears and having the courage to do something different, we can find a new part of ourselves, and we can begin to have a new experience and feel a little more fuller than we did before. So I thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I send you well wishes and love and virtual hugs, and I just appreciate you so much, and we'll talk soon. Okay.